There are days when the air feels heavier, almost as if time itself has slowed down to make room for something larger than our ordinary routine. September 8th is one of those days, marked by the Virgo current that sharpens the mind and presses the soul toward clarity. If you are here, it is not by coincidence. You are in the exact place you are meant to be, drawn into this space by invisible threads that recognize the quiet questions of your heart. You have felt the pull, the sense that there is something waiting to be unveiled, and now you are standing at the threshold of that unveiling. This message is not for everyone. It is for those who sense the whisper behind the noise, for those who have walked through seasons of silence and still kept their faith alive. The gateway of September 8th opens only to those willing to see with inner vision, to those who do not run from the truth when it rises. It is the moment of the psychological gate, a day when what is hidden within the mind is revealed with sharp precision. And in this revelation, there is both promise and risk. Promise of miracles for the one who aligns, risk of confusion and spiritual entrapment for the one who turns away. You have asked yourself whether what you feel inside will ever make sense. Today, that question begins to receive its answer. 3 psychological truths are waiting to step into your awareness, each one carrying a different vibration, each one acting as a key to unlock part of your path. These truths are not abstract concepts. They will touch your daily life, your relationships, and the choices that carve your destiny. They have been waiting in the unseen layers of your consciousness. And now, under the Virgo light, they rise to the surface. So why should you stay? Because hidden inside this message is a decree that seals a new timeline, a decree that does not just explain, but transforms. The universe has organized this day as a mirror, and if you walk with me until the final words, you will understand what that mirror is showing you. The map is simple. First, we reveal what this day means, then we decode the 3 truths, and finally, we anchor them into your life with a ritual that ties thought and action into one. This is not theory, it is initiation. Stay until the final breath of this chaptered journey, because the decree you speak at the end may be the very breath that shifts everything. There is a reason Virgo has been called the keeper of silent strength. More than any other sign, Virgo carries the discipline of preparation, the willingness to labor in the shadows without needing applause. If you look back at your own journey, you will see how often your work has been hidden, how many times you have carried weight without witnesses. That silence was never emptiness. It was the soil where seeds were waiting to take root, a sacred preparation that could only be done away from the crowd. The world may not have honored those seasons, but the universe did. Every act of persistence, every quiet choice you made in faith has been recorded in the invisible book of time. It is easy to mistake silence for weakness. It is easy to believe that being overlooked means being unworthy. Yet Virgo knows that silence is the space where clarity grows. While others shout and chase after validation, you are being trained to hear the whisper of truth beneath the noise. This is why you are here now, standing on the threshold of revelation. You were chosen not because of loudness, but because of endurance. You proved that you could keep walking even when no one clapped. You proved that your strength was not borrowed from the crowd, but forged in solitude. There is also a justice woven into this day. The years when your effort was ignored, when your love was taken for granted, when your wisdom was dismissed, those years were not wasted. They were building the foundation for a reversal, a moment when private pain transforms into public honor. That is the rhythm of Virgo energy. What is hidden becomes visible in its own time. What was done in secret emerges as strength when the gate opens. And today, September 8th, that gate stands before you. Understand this. You are not being punished by silence. You are being prepared by it. You were breaking karmic cycles of seeking worth in the wrong places. You are learning to listen not only to others, but to yourself. This is the mission you carry: to break patterns that have lived in your family line, to end the repetition of self-doubt that has haunted generations. That is why the psychological truths waiting to be revealed will not feel foreign to you. They will feel like memories resurfacing, like pieces of yourself you had always known but never named. You are about to see how these truths operate in your life, and once seen, they cannot be unseen. Behind every visible event lies an invisible architecture, and today that structure reveals itself through what we call the 3 psychological truths. They are not random insights. They are part of a larger spiritual engineering that arranges circumstances, whispers through dreams, and creates small interruptions in your daily rhythm to catch your attention. Think of them as messages hidden within the folds of reality, waiting until you are ready to decode them. Today, the veil is thin enough for you to perceive them clearly if you choose awareness over distraction. The Virgo current sharpens perception, but what truly empowers this moment is the movement of the waxing moon. The waxing moon does not complete things. It tests, stretches, and strengthens them. It is the phase of growth, the phase when the seed pushes against the soil to break through into the world. That is exactly what is happening within you. The truths that have been hidden are pressing to surface, asking whether you will allow them to be born or whether you will bury them again. Virgo, being of the earth element, demands that these revelations do not remain abstract. They must take form in actions, choices, boundaries, and new patterns. The label of this day is precise: the psychological gate. A gate is both invitation and test. It does not force you to walk through, but it makes the choice unavoidable. If you step forward, you align with clarity. If you hesitate or turn away, confusion can deepen. This is why September 8th matters. It is not a random point on a calendar. It is a symbolic hinge between hidden and revealed, between unconscious repetition and conscious choice. You may already have felt the signs announcing this moment. Strange dreams that stay with you even after waking. A heaviness in the air that cannot be explained. Sudden flashes of intuition about people or situations. Recurring numbers like 222 or 777 appearing on clocks, receipts, or screens, nudging you to pay attention. These are not coincidences. They are cosmic signs pointing you to the gate that is opening. Do not let fear take hold of you. Awareness is always stronger than panic. This is not about losing control, but about gaining sight. What emerges in this chapter is only the frame. The truths themselves are waiting, each one with its own weight, each one with its own call to action. And now, we step into the first. The first truth that rises through the Virgo gate is the mirror of self-worth. More than any external challenge, the battle you have fought has been with the image staring back at you when the world is quiet. This truth reminds you that destiny does not unfold according to how others see you, but according to how you see yourself. If you believe you are unworthy, every opportunity feels like a test you are bound to fail. If you carry the certainty of value, doors that once seemed sealed begin to open. You know the symptoms of forgetting this truth. The endless giving without receiving. The exhaustion that lingers even after sleep. The silent resentment of watching others take without gratitude. Perhaps you have found yourself agreeing to things you never wanted, just to keep peace. Perhaps you have felt invisible even in rooms where your effort was holding everything together. These are not random frustrations. They are signals of the mirror reflecting a distorted image back to you. Picture this scene. Someone spends years pouring into others, showing up for every crisis, carrying burdens that were never theirs. They smile, but inside there is a quiet ache. Does anyone even see me? The truth is not that they are unseen, but that they have forgotten to see themselves first. That is the hidden fracture the mirror exposes. The most common mistake here is waiting for others to validate you. Believing that worth is something earned by applause, titles, or affection that never comes in the form you hoped. But Virgo's lesson is sharp. External validation is unstable soil. True worth is an inner decree, spoken in silence, unshaken even when no one notices. The protocol for today is simple but powerful. First, pause and recognize the moment you are tempted to give from emptiness. Second, affirm your value out loud, even if only to yourself. Set one boundary today, however small, as a declaration that you are no longer available to depletion. These small steps plant roots that grow into larger patterns of honor. Speak this short affirmation now. I am enough without proof. Let it echo in your mind until it feels less like words and more like truth. This first revelation is the foundation, and once it settles, the second truth rises naturally from it, showing where your energy has been leaking all along. The second truth waiting in the gate is the shadow of energy drainers. Once the mirror of self-worth has been revealed, you begin to see with sharper eyes where your strength has been leaking away. It is not always dramatic, not always obvious. Sometimes it shows itself in the subtle fatigue after a single conversation, the confusion that lingers after a certain encounter, or the guilt that rises when you consider saying no. These are not random emotional fluctuations. They are signs that someone or something is feeding on energy that does not belong to them. Think of the moments when you left a gathering feeling smaller than when you arrived, when your ideas felt blurred, or when a sudden heaviness clung to you for no reason. That is the trace of the shadow. It does not announce itself with anger or malice. Often it wears the disguise of obligation, familiarity, or even affection. The one who drains may not even know what they are doing, but the effect is unmistakable. You leave feeling emptied, while they leave feeling lighter. One vivid example is the friend or relative who calls only when they need to vent, pouring their frustrations on you with no space for your voice, no exchange of care. In the moment, you tell yourself you are helping, that it is kindness. But when the call ends, you feel hollow, as though your spirit has been siphoned. Multiply that pattern over weeks or years, and it becomes a silent theft of your vitality. The mistake most often made is confusing love with obligation, believing that to refuse is to betray, that to rest is selfish. Yet this is the lie that keeps you bound. True connection feeds both sides, even when imperfect. Drainage disguised as loyalty, on the other hand, will suffocate your soul. The protocol here is clarity. First, step back for a moment and name the feeling after each interaction. Write it down if needed. Does this exchange nourish or drain? Second, honor the answer by adjusting your presence accordingly. Even the smallest act of honesty in this area begins to shift the entire pattern. Affirm this truth now. My energy is sacred. Speak it until it becomes the filter through which every interaction must pass. Once this second truth settles, you will see the path toward the third, where responsibility for your own healing becomes not a burden, but a liberation. The third truth that rises in this sequence is the root of soul responsibility. After the mirror of self-worth and the unveiling of energy drainers, there comes the realization that no one else can walk the path for you. Others may accompany you, inspire you, or even challenge you, but the choices, the patterns, and the healing are yours alone. This is not punishment. It is liberation. For when you accept responsibility for your own growth, you step out of cycles of blame and repetition. You reclaim the authority over your destiny. The symptoms of resisting this truth are familiar. The same lessons repeating in different forms, the same frustrations surfacing in new relationships, the same disappointments returning as if life were echoing itself. You may have wondered why you always attract similar challenges, why certain wounds never seem to heal. The reason is not that the universe is cruel, but that the lesson remains unclaimed. Responsibility is the key that unlocks the cycle and brings you into a new pattern. Picture this: someone who always finds themselves in relationships where they are undervalued. Each time, the face changes, but the story repeats. The temptation is to point outward, to say that others are the problem. Yet, until the inner choice shifts, until the soul says, "I will no longer tolerate this pattern," the story replays. Responsibility does not mean carrying blame for what others do. It means claiming power over what you allow and how you respond. The common error is to wait for rescue, to hope that someone will step in and repair what only you can rewrite. Rescue may come in small ways, but the deeper transformation begins only when you step forward as the author of your own path. This is where Virgo's grounded energy becomes essential. The realization that responsibility is not a heavy burden, but a sacred structure, like soil that gives roots strength. The protocol here is a conscious decision. Write down one choice you are ready to make differently. Then take one small action aligned with it today. It does not need to be dramatic. Even a single step begins to carve a new path through the old terrain. Affirm these words. I choose responsibility over repetition. Let them settle into you as a vow. With this third truth, the sequence of revelation is complete, and now it is time to witness how these truths unfold in the life of another, so that their story may confirm your own. There was once a woman standing at the edge of her own breaking point. To those around her, she looked strong, always reliable, always present, but inside she carried the quiet weight of exhaustion. She had spent years giving more than she received, saying yes when her soul wanted to say no, waiting for a moment when someone would finally see her. She worked tirelessly, cared endlessly, but when she was alone, she wondered if her existence even made a difference. That invisible conflict was her true battle, a storm no one else could see. The turning point came on an ordinary afternoon. She had just finished another draining call where she had offered comfort without receiving even a single word of care in return. She set the phone down, and her eyes landed on the clock. The time glowed with a strange insistence. 777. She had seen it before, but today it struck her differently, as if the number itself were speaking. It was the sign, the cosmic signal she could no longer ignore. In that moment, she remembered the first truth, the mirror of self-worth. Something shifted. She lit a candle in the silence of her room, sat down with a blank page, and wrote the words, I am enough without proof. My energy is sacred. I choose responsibility over repetition. She felt her chest tighten, then soften, as though something inside had been released. The act was simple, but it was more than ritual. It was an initiation, a reclaiming of the authority she had long forgotten she held. The days that followed did not suddenly erase her struggles, but the atmosphere within her began to change. She felt lighter when she walked, stronger when she spoke. Conversations that once drained her began to reveal themselves clearly, and for the first time, she did not feel guilty stepping back. What looked like small choices from the outside were in truth monumental shifts of energy within her soul. The result was undeniable. Peace without reason, clarity that arrived like sunlight breaking through clouds, and a quiet joy she could not explain. She realized the truths were not abstract teachings. They were living keys that unlocked her path. And the moral was clear. The moment you claim your worth, protect your energy, and take responsibility, you align with destiny itself. Now, her story stands as proof, not only for her, but for you, that these truths carry power waiting to be lived. And so we move toward how you can embody them with your own ritual. Now that the three truths have been revealed and witnessed through story, the question becomes how to anchor them into your own life. Knowledge without embodiment fades, but when truth is sealed through action, it takes root and grows. This is where the ritual of alignment enters, a simple yet powerful process drawn from the law of attraction, shaped to merge intention, emotion, and action into one current. It is not about controlling outcomes. It is about aligning yourself so fully with truth that reality has no choice but to mirror it back to you. The first step is clarity. Write down the intention in present tense, as if it is already alive within you. Do not ask for worth. Declare it. I am worthy. My energy is sacred. I walk in responsibility. These are not wishes. They are decrees, and the page on which you write becomes a witness to them. The second step is emotion. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and let gratitude flood you as though the truths were already shaping your life. Feel the lightness, the safety, the empowerment as if it were happening now. Emotion is the language the universe hears most clearly. The third step is action. Take one aligned step today, however small, that reflects your decree. It might be setting a boundary, choosing rest, or speaking your truth. And then comes release. Let go of control, trusting that the alignment will ripple outward without the need for constant grasping. For those who want to deepen the ritual, add an astral layer by aligning with the waxing moon. As the moon grows, so too does your intention. Light a candle, breathe slowly, and visualize a door opening before you, a door that leads into a new timeline where the truths are already real. Walk through it in your mind with certainty, not longing. Protection is also part of alignment. A simple salt bath, the burning of incense, or a short prayer can cleanse lingering heaviness. You are not only creating, but also clearing space. Remember, this ritual is not about forcing life into shape. It is about creating coherence between thought, feeling, and action. When those three align, life responds naturally. And so the practice becomes alive, not distant. The question that remains is, how do you know when it has worked? The signs of alignment begin to whisper, and soon they turn into confirmation. When alignment begins to settle into your life, the signs arrive like quiet confirmations. They are not always dramatic, but they are unmistakable once you learn to recognize them. You may feel sudden chills or goosebumps when speaking your truth. You may begin to see repeating numbers such as 111, 222, or 777 appearing on clocks, receipts, or even in dreams, reminding you that the universe is echoing your alignment back to you. There may be a lightness in your chest, a sense of peace without explanation, or clarity that arrives like a clear sky after days of storm. These are the subtle proofs that your ritual has taken root. But what if nothing seems to happen? Do not mistake silence for failure. Sometimes the shift works through dreams, through inner rearrangements that you cannot yet see. Many discover that within 48 hours, something begins to move, whether in the outer world or deep within their own emotions. Trust the process. The seed does not reveal its growth immediately, but it is alive beneath the soil. To maintain alignment, practice one daily habit that anchors the truths into your routine. It can be as simple as pausing each morning to take 3 grounding breaths, speaking one decree, and making one small gesture that symbolizes order in your life, like arranging your space or writing a clear thought. Small rituals, repeated daily, become strong roots. At the same time, be mindful of what to avoid in the hours following your ritual. Do not fall into drama. Do not overexpose your process by telling everyone, and avoid impulsive choices such as unnecessary spending or rushed decisions. These distractions scatter the energy before it has a chance to settle. Protect the silence that follows, for it is in that silence that the truths sink deeper. When you feel the signs, whether numbers, chills, or an unshakable calm, acknowledge them. Speak them out, even in a whisper, as confirmation. I received the truths. This spoken word becomes a seal, not only for yourself but also in connection with others who are walking the same path. And as this chapter draws to its close, it leads us naturally to the decree that will seal everything you have received, the final step through the Virgo gate of September 8th. You have walked through the gateway of September 8th, step by step, carrying the revelations that rose in sequence. The mirror of self-worth, the shadow of energy drainers, and the root of soul responsibility. These are not fragments to be forgotten, but keys that belong to your identity. You are not ordinary, you are called. Virgo energy does not open gates for the masses. It opens them for those prepared to see beyond appearances and claim their role in the unfolding design of destiny. And you have proven willing to listen. Remember this day, Virgo September 8th, the psychological gate. Its purpose was not only to reveal, but to test, to see if you would recognize the truths rising in you. By hearing them, by embodying them, you have already stepped through the threshold. What once weighed on you no longer has the same hold. What once repeated without end can now dissolve, because awareness has broken the cycle. And now comes the decree. Speak it not as a request, but as a declaration, a command etched into the fabric of your reality. Say it with the certainty that what you declare is already alive within you. I receive the truths, and I walk into abundance. This is the seal. This is the breath that locks your alignment into place. Say it aloud if you can, whisper it if you must, but let your voice become the vessel through which this new pattern takes form. Do not underestimate the power of speaking in unity. Each voice that declares becomes part of a collective rhythm, and together those voices strengthen the vibration of truth in the unseen. Seal it now by writing it, by commenting it, by declaring with full presence, I receive the truths. This is how you anchor yourself not only as an individual, but as part of a greater stream that carries countless others across the same threshold. And as this message closes, know that this is not the end, but a continuation. Another gate may open, another decree may arrive, and it may reach you exactly when you need it. Remain attentive. Remain open. You have walked through Virgo's mountain pass, and on the other side, a light is breaking. You are no longer the same. You stand in the glow of a new path, and the portal behind you has already sealed.